She came to interview for a job, not knowing the Millionaire CEO was the man she once loved. The elevator doors slid open with a soft chime, revealing the sleek expanse of the 42nd floor. Elena Ramirez stepped out, her heels clicking tentatively against the polished marble like hesitant heartbeats. At 32, she carried the weight of too many yesterdays in the faint lines around her eyes the color of storm-tossed seas, wide now with a mix of hope and dread. Her resume clutched in one hand, a single mother of 5-year-old Mia. She'd dressed in her best. A navy blouse that hugged her frame just enough to remind her she was still a woman beneath the exhaustion, a pencil skirt that whispered of forgotten ambitions. The air hummed with the quiet efficiency of power, glass walls framing a city skyline that glittered like distant promises. She smoothed her dark hair, tied back in a practical knot, and approached the reception desk. The young woman there smiled, all efficiency and gloss. "Ms. Ramirez, Mr. Harrington is ready for you." Elena nodded, her throat tight, and followed down a corridor lined with abstract art that swirled like unresolved emotions. Her mind raced. This job, executive assistant to the CEO of Harrington Tech, could be her lifeline. No more scraping by on freelance gigs, no more Mia asking why Mommy's eyes were red from late nights. As the door to the corner office swung open, sunlight poured in like liquid gold, casting long shadows across a vast desk piled with blueprints and screens glowing with code. And then she saw him. He stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows, back turned, silhouetted against the sprawl of Manhattan below. Tall, broad-shouldered, his dark hair threaded with silver at the temples, a man who commanded rooms without a word. He turned slowly, as if sensing her presence like a shift in the wind, and their eyes met. Time fractured. His were the same piercing blue, but hardened now, etched with a weariness that mirrored her own. Alexander Harrington. Alex. The boy who'd once traced her palm under starlit skies, promising forever. The man who'd vanished 12 years ago, leaving only a note and a shattered heart. Elena's breath caught, a gasp swallowed by the vastness of the room. The resume slipped from her fingers, fluttering to the floor like a fallen leaf. He froze, his hand midway to the chair he'd meant to offer, the polished mask of the CEO cracking just enough to reveal the ghost beneath. "Elena." His voice was a low rumble, laced with disbelief, the word hanging in the air like smoke from a dying fire. She couldn't speak. The world narrowed to the space between them, the 10 feet that felt like oceans crossed and bridges burned. In that suspended moment, the city outside blurred into irrelevance. Fate, that capricious thief, had stolen him once. Now it dragged him back, uninvited, into the light. The rain-slicked streets of Brooklyn 12 years earlier gleamed under sodium lamps, turning puddles into fractured mirrors of a young couple's dreams. Elena was 20, fierce and unbroken, her laughter a melody that cut through the din of the corner diner where she waitressed. Alex, just 22, was her opposite. Quiet intensity wrapped in worn jeans and a leather jacket, studying engineering at night school while fixing cars by day. They met on a Tuesday when his motorcycle sputtered to a halt outside the diner, rain lashing his face as he pushed it under the awning. She'd brought him coffee, black and steaming, with a napkin scribbled, "Looks like you need this more than gas." He'd looked up, water dripping from his lashes, and grinned, a slow, crooked thing that lit his eyes like fireworks. Or maybe I just needed an excuse to stop running. From there, it unfolded like a reel of stolen film, stolen kisses in the alley behind the diner, her head on his chest listening to the steady thrum of his heart as they lay on threadbare blankets in his tiny apartment. He dreamed big, of building something that changed the world, of lifting her from the grind of double shifts. She dreamed smaller, but no less fierce. A life where love wasn't rationed like tips at the end of a slow night. "We'll make it," he'd whisper into her hair, his fingers tracing the curve of her shoulder. "You and me against the noise." But the noise grew louder. Alex's father, a stern mechanic with whiskey on his breath, scoffed at his son's foolish notions. Elena's mother, widowed young, warned of men who promised stars but delivered dust. Still, they clung, until the night everything splintered. It was a humid August evening, the air thick with the scent of garbage and distant thunder. Alex had come to her shift's end, eyes shadowed, a duffel bag slung over his shoulder. "I got it, Al. The scholarship to MIT. Full ride." His voice cracked with joy, but beneath it lurked something sharper. Fear. She threw her arms around him, joy bubbling like champagne. "This is it. We're leaving this place behind." He pulled back, his hands cupping her face, thumbs brushing her cheeks. "But it's Boston, and the program's intense. I can't." "Can't what?" Her smile faltered, the diner's neon sign flickering across his features. "I leave next week." The words landed like stones in still water. "I don't want you waiting, scraping by here while I'm gone. You deserve more." "More than us?" "Alex, that's crazy." Her voice rose, drawing stares from late-night patrons nursing coffees. He shook his head, jaw tight. "My dad, he said you'd hold me back, and maybe he's right. I love you too much to drag you down." The betrayal stung like salt in a fresh cut. "So that's it? You decide for both of us?" Tears welled, hot and unbidden. "Elena, please. This is my shot. Our shot, eventually." But his eyes darted away to the rain-streaked window, as if already seeing a horizon without her. She shoved him, hard, her palms flat against his chest. "Go then. Build your empire. But don't come crying when it's built on lies." He left that night, the door slamming like a final punctuation. A week later, a note arrived, scrawled on diner napkin. "Forgive me. I love you still." She burned it in the sink, watching flames devour the words, her sobs echoing in the empty apartment. Life carved forward without mercy. Elena discovered she was pregnant 3 months later. The test strips pink lines, a cruel echo of their passion. Mia arrived in the chill of November, tiny fists waving like flags of defiance. Elena named her after the sea, strong, unending, vowing to be both parents in one weary body. She finished community college at night, pieced together a career in admin work, her resume a patchwork of resilience. Dates came and went, shadows of what she'd lost, but none lingered. Alex's ghost was too vivid, too raw. Across the country, Alex Harrington ascended like a rocket fueled by regret. MIT blurred into startups, then Harrington Tech, an empire of AI innovations that streamlined lives while hollowing his own. By 34, he was the face on Forbes covers. Sharp suits, sharper deals, a penthouse overlooking the Hudson that echoed with silence. Women orbited him, elegant, ambitious, but none breached the walls he'd built. Nights found him at the window, scotch in hand, tracing constellations that reminded him of Brooklyn skies. The note he'd left, a coward's half-truth. His father hadn't just doubted. He'd confessed a debt that could ruin them all, forcing Alex to choose Elena's safety or his dreams. He'd chosen wrong, vanishing to sever ties, to protect her from the fallout. Now, in the sterile glow of his office, those choices collided. Elena stood frozen, the resume a crumpled flag at her feet. Alex moved first, bending to retrieve it, his fingers brushing hers in the stoop, a spark that jolted like live wire. You're here for the job?" She snatched the paper back, her voice a whisper edged with steel. "Don't, just conduct the interview, Mr. Harrington. Pretend you don't know me." But pretense shattered as he gestured to the chair, sinking into his own with the grace of a man adrift. The city hummed below, indifferent. "Elena, I never stopped—" "Stopped what? Loving me? Or stopped existing?" Her eyes blazed, the year's grievances rising like tide. He leaned forward, elbows on the desk, the wood groaning under his weight. "I left to protect you. My family, debts, sharks circling. If I'd stayed, they'd have come for you," she laughed, bitter as autumn leaves. "Protect me? By erasing me. I was pregnant, Alex, with our daughter." The words landed like a thunderclap. His face drained of color, blue eyes widening to pools of anguish. "Daughter!" The syllable broke, raw and reverent. "Mia. She's 5. Beautiful. And she's never known her father because he was too busy playing savior." Tears traced her cheeks now. Silent rivers carving canyons. He reached across the desk, hand trembling, but she recoiled. "Why didn't you tell me? You left a note. Not a number, not a trace. What was I supposed to do, chase ghosts?" The room spun with unspoken accusations, the what-ifs piling like unpaid bills. The interview dissolved into wreckage. HR knocked once, then retreated at the sight of their locked stairs. Alex stood, pacing to the window, fists clenched at his sides. "I built all this thinking it would fill the hole, but it didn't. Every deal, every skyline, it's hollow without you." Elena's heart twisted, a knot of fury and longing. "And now? You think a job offer mends it? I need this position, Alex. For Mia. Not for us." He turned, the light haloing him like a fallen angel. "Then take it. But let me meet her, please. Let me try." She rose, smoothing her skirt with shaking hands, the door her escape. "We'll see." The words hung, a fragile thread in the tapestry of ruin. As she fled the elevator, the city swallowed her steps, but the echo lingered. Fate's cruel jest, reuniting what time had torn asunder. The weeks that followed blurred into a tempest of half-measures and hidden fractures. Elena accepted the job, practicality trumping pride, settling into the rhythm of Harrington tech with the wariness of a deer in lion country. Her desk nestled outside his office, a vantage point to stolen glimpses. Alex in meetings, his voice commanding yet laced with distraction. Alex alone, staring at a photo she'd glimpsed once. Mia? No, a childhood snapshot of him grinning under Brooklyn rain. The irony bit deep. She managed his empire while guarding her heart's ruins. Mia, oblivious, filled their tiny queen's apartment with crayon chaos and questions that pierced like arrows. "Mommy, why do you look sad when you talk about the stars?" Elena would pull her close, inhaling the scent of baby shampoo and innocence, whispering, "Because stars remind me of someone who went away." Nights brought dreams of Alex's touch, waking her in sweat-damp sheets, resolve fraying like old lace. Alex. Meanwhile, unraveled in opulent isolation, the boardroom victories tasted like ash. Investors praised his vision while he plotted reconnaissance. He hired a PI discreetly, unethical perhaps, but desperation breeds shadows. Photos arrived, Mia at the park, dark curls flying as she chased pigeons, eyes, his eyes, sparkling with unbridled joy. The sight cracked him open, tears blurring the prints as he traced her face. "My girl," he murmured to the empty penthouse, the Hudson's dark waters mocking his solitude. Their interactions were minefields. Mornings, she'd hand him coffee, black, 2 sugars, fingers brushing in ritual betrayal. "The Peterson merger files," she'd say, voice clipped, avoiding his gaze. "Elena, wait." He'd catch her wrist once, gently, the warmth searing. Dinner for old times. No expectations. She'd pull away, the silk of her blouse whispering retreat. "Old times are buried, Alex. Let them rest." But the pulls intensified. A late-night storm trapped them in the office, thunder rattling windows like impatient ghosts. Power flickered, screens dying to black, leaving only the patter of rain in their breaths. He lit a candle from his drawer, beeswax evoking forgotten picnics, and poured scotch from a decanter, the amber liquid catching flame like captured sunsets. "Why engineering?" she asked, surprising herself, the question a bridge over chasms. He swirled the glass, ice clinking softly. "To build things that last. Bridges, not walls." A pause, heavy as lead. "I failed at that with you." Lightning flashed, illuminating the scar on his jaw. From a bar fight he'd never explained, defending her honor against leering drunks. "You didn't fail," she murmured, the words escaping like prisoners. "We were kids. Scared." He set the glass down, leaning close enough for her to smell his cologne, sandalwood and regret. "I see her in you, the fire. Tell me about Mia." The dam cracked. Words tumbled. Mia's first steps in the diner parking lot, her laughter like wind chimes, her fear of thunderstorms that Elena soothed with made-up tales of brave nights. Alex listened, hunger in his eyes, hanging on each syllable as if it were scripture. "You're a good mother," he said finally, voice rough. "Better than I deserve." "Don't," she warned, but her hand found his across the desk, tentative as a truce. The twist came unbidden, a serpent in their fragile garden. 2 months in, Elena discovered the anomaly. Discrepancies in the company ledgers, subtle as whispers but damning. Embezzlement. Millions siphoned by a trusted VP, Alex's right hand, Victor Lang. The man who'd mentored him from MIT days, the confidant who'd urged silence on family debts long ago. She confronted the files alone, heart pounding in the dim server room, fluorescent hum the only witness. Victor's trail led back, oh God, to Alex's father. The old debts weren't paid. They'd festered, Victor the collector turned collaborator, bleeding the company to settle scores. And Alex, clueless or complicit. Rage boiled as she stormed his office at dawn, printouts fanned like accusations. "How could you? Build this on lies again?" He looked up from his desk, bleary-eyed, tie askew. "Elena, what?" "Victor. The ledgers. It traces to your family. Were you ever going to tell me? Or is this just another empire on borrowed time?" His face crumpled not in defense but devastation. "I didn't know." "Swear it." He stood, papers scattering. "Victor. He helped me bury the debts when I left you. Said it was clean. I trusted a snake." She hurled the files, sheets fluttering like wounded birds. "Just like you trusted yourself to leave me. Mia deserves better than this toxicity." He caught her arm as she turned, desperation in his grip. "Don't go. Not like this. I love you, both of you. Let me fix it." She wrenched free, tears scalding. "Fix what? Us? Or your crumbling kingdom?" The door slammed, echoing her flight down empty halls, the elevator a coffin descending to reality. Victor, sensing the noose, struck next. A anonymous tip to the board. Alex's instability. Whispers of the PI. The distraction of a lowly assistant with a child. By noon, auditors swarmed, the merger teetered, and Alex faced ousting, ruin staring from every screen. He didn't fight with lawyers or spin. Instead, he drove to Queens, rain sheeting his windshield like veils of remorse. Elena's apartment building loomed, fire escapes dripping, the buzzer a plea he half expected ignored. She opened the door in sweatpants, hair tousled, Mia peeking from behind her legs like a fawn. "Mommy," the girl whispered, clutching a stuffed elephant. "It's okay, baby." Elena's voice wavered, ushering him in despite the storm in her eyes. The living room was a shrine to survival. Toys scattered like confetti, Mia's drawings taped to walls, a single fern thriving against odds. He sank onto the sagging couch, defeated. "It's over. Victor's poison. It's poisoned everything. I'm done." She knelt before him, Mia clambering into her lap, the child's small hand reaching for his tie, tugging curiously. "What do you mean?" "I'll confess. To the board, the authorities. Let it burn if it must. But I won't lose you again." His voice broke, eyes locking on Mia's. Mirror images, souls recognizing across divides. "Hello, little one. I'm your dad." Mia's brow furrowed, then brightened. "Daddy, like in the story? The knight who comes home?" Elena choked on a sob, the word a key turning in rusted locks. "Alex." He extended a hand, trembling. "If you'll have me, both of you." The room held its breath, rain pattering a soft crescendo outside. Victor's web unraveled in the hours that followed, arrests, headlines, but in that cramped haven, truth bloomed. Elena nodded, tears mingling with a smile fragile as dawn. "We fight together this time. No more running." He pulled them close, Mia's giggles a balm, Elena's head on his shoulder a homecoming. The storm raged on, but inside, embers kindled, warmth against the cold. The fallout cascaded like dominoes in slow motion. Harrington tech teetered, but Alex's confession, raw, unvarnished, swayed the board. Victor's empire of deceit crumbled under audits. his flight to non-extradition shores a footnote in the chaos. Investors pulled back. Stocks dipped like a sigh, but whispers of integrity spread. The CEO who chose heart over empire. By spring's tentative thaw, a leaner company emerged, retooled under Elena's steady hand, her insights on ethics woven into bylaws, her presence a quiet revolution. They moved slowly, as lovers scarred by tempests do, weekends blurred into rituals. Alex at the park, pushing Mia on swings, her shrieks of delight chasing away his ghosts. "Higher, Daddy! To the clouds!" He'd laugh, the sound rusty at first, then free, his arms strong where doubt had weakened them. Evenings, Elena cooked, simple fare, arroz con pollo steaming with memories, while he read Mia bedtime tales, his voice weaving knights and dragons into tapestries of hope. Intimacy returned in whispers. One night, as Mia slept, they stood on the fire escape, city lights winking below like conspirators. His fingers traced her jaw, tentative. "I thought I'd forgotten how you feel." She leaned in, lips brushing his, a spark reigniting. "You didn't. We just needed time to remember." Their kiss deepened, slow and searing, the world fading to the rhythm of breaths shared, bodies rediscovering paths long overgrown. Challenges lingered. Of course, tabloids sniffing at the scandalous reunion, boardroom skeptics questioning the family man pivot. Elena faced her own tempests, therapy sessions unpacking abandonment's thorns, Mia's wide-eyed questions about why Daddy was gone. But they faced them entwined. Alex sold the penthouse, trading glass towers for a brownstone in Brooklyn, close to roots, windows framing the same rain-slicked streets where it began. He mentored at night school now, paying forward the dreams he'd chased alone. One crisp October afternoon, a year to the day of that fateful interview, they stood in the diner's parking lot, the old one, shuttered but stubborn. Mia chased leaves, her laughter cascade. Alex knelt before Elena, a simple band in his palm, silver, etched with stars. "Marry me. Not the CEO, me, the fool who learned too late." Tears welled, but joy-tipped. "Yes, to all of you." He slipped the ring on, cool metal warming to her skin, and pulled her close as Mia barreled into their legs, a whirlwind of hugs. The sun dipped low, gilding them in amber, the past's shadows yielding to light. In the quiet that followed, as they walked hand in hand toward home, Elena felt the scars soften, not erased, but honored. Love, she realized, wasn't a straight line, but a mosaic, broken pieces refitted into something luminous. And in the richest of ironies, the empire he'd built alone now thrived because of the family he'd almost lost. Proof that true wealth blooms not in boardrooms, but in the tender spaces between heartbeats. Sometimes the greatest interviews aren't for jobs, but for second chances, where the heart laid bare hires the soul it never truly fired. As the stars pricked the velvet sky that night, Alex whispered into Elena's hair, "We're the story now, the one that lasts." And in her smile, reflected in Mia's sleepy gaze, she knew he was right. Love, patient and fierce, had rewritten their ending.